It's raining here where I am. I hope it's sunny where you are. So I'd like to remind everyone we are being recorded and live streamed. And for those who are viewing us, backgrounds are in honor of a board member who has served a 3-year term and has decided to rotate off. His name's Mark Fisher, and he's done a fabulous job. So we can speak to that when Mark pops on. For this moment, I'd like to call the September 17th, 2020 Main Street Advisory Board meeting to order. And we can just get right to it if you want to. Shelley, we can start out the meeting with the secretary's report.
There's minutes in the packet for consideration and adoption.
I do have one comment. In looking over the minutes, I did see there was need for correction in the members present. Okay. I think we had a Ron Folk's name in that list. And I don't know if that means someone was left off. So I would just encourage everyone to review and make sure that if you attended the meeting in August, that you were represented under being present. Does everyone want to take a moment and look at that?
We can also go back and listen to the recording, the roll call, and make sure that we have it correct.
Okay. All right. Other than that, that was all I noticed. Okay. Does anyone else have comments?
I move to approve the minutes subject to that amendment.
Does anyone like to second that?
I'll second it.
I will. Yep.
Thank you, Sister Nancy. Thank you, Jim. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So that has moved forward, and we can go on to the staff report, Phil.
Great. Thank you, Angela. Not too much to report this week or for this month's report. As far as the primary update that I'd like to provide as far as downtown business activity, our new construction, Steve Hector and Talia Simmons, who are doing the new construction, they're getting close to complete. The landscaping took place along the front of the building and the sides. So if you haven't driven by lately or walked by, please do so. But more importantly, we're pretty sure that we have all spaces leased out. And so at this point, it looks like we will have, I guess, pretty much 2 retail spaces and a nice restaurant coming in. I think it's a restaurant that we don't really have in downtown, so I think it will complement what we do have, and so I'm pretty excited about that. Moving on to our 2021 work plan, I've been communicating with Sherry Adams and Liz, trying to get some dates available for us to consider working on our 2021 work plan. Also in doing so, I spoke to Adrian after a conversation with Angela about doing a workshop with city council members, knowing that city council members, they have a work plan and items that they want to work on and see done for the greater good of the city. We want to make sure that we are working in parallel with city council. So in communicating with Adrian, as of right now, we are going to get on the November 16th, or Adrian was going to put us on the November 16th city council workshop agenda. So please, I'll send out an email reminder for November the 16th at 4:00 at TechWorks. We will do a workshop with city council and that'll be Main Street, DBDA. And so I emailed Sherry back to try to get additional dates after the November 16th deadline, because I think it's important for us to have a workshop with City Council prior to us meeting with Sherry and developing our work plan. Any questions there?
Yeah, Phil, is this something that the entire board would attend? Or who would the attendees be? Okay.
Yeah, it would be the board.
And is there an option to do it virtually?
We will work on that.
Okay.
Maybe Jim and Mark or Adrian can speak to that, because I know they've recently had some other workshops, or have some coming up with other boards. Has it all been live in person, or has some been able to communicate or call in virtually?
Hey, Angela, this is Adrian. We can make that work. So we'll have it at TechWorks, so that we can space out a little bit. But if you don't feel comfortable coming in or not available, you're out of town that day, if you call in, we will have a virtual feature. I don't know what that will be, but it'll either be WebEx video or conference call or something. So I don't want anybody to not be able to attend because they're out of town or any other reason.
Thanks, Adrian.
They've done that with the Parks and Rec Board. They've had live meetings, and some members have been present by WebEx.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Adrian, for setting that up.
Yeah, no, thank you, Adrian and Jim. So November 16th, 4:00, we'll do a workshop with City Council, and I'll continue working with Sherry. And once we get once we get some new dates from Sherry, I'll get those to you so we can get that on our calendars as well. Moving on to events, I'm going to let Cassidy chime in on events.
Yes, so the soon occurring event was going to be our Thursday Night Pop series. We have decided, due to the weather, to reschedule tonight's event for the third Thursday in October. So that will take place as planned. We have seating arrangements that will be similar to the Barnum musical performance setup, where we have a restricted event area, and we will only allow 50 people in that area. But as you may have seen if you attended, there was a larger crowd than 50 people, but we have to sort of still allow folks within the park because that's still an open public space. So that's sort of how we have structured that to meet the current phase 2.5 guidelines. As far as other events,
is it the same for that space and 30 and 60,000 seat football stadiums? It's just amazing. I can't help but make that point because it irritated me to have to watch the game last week from home.
Understandable. As far as other events upcoming are concerned, obviously we're not going to be able to hold our traditional Beer Fest in Christmas Village as we normally would, but we still have plans for other events that will meet the current guidelines to try to still provide some entertainment and interaction for the community. One of those for Halloween being our traditional movie night. We're going to be showing the Hocus Pocus film, but we will have the Black Star Theater Company that did the Barnum performance for us come in, and we'll have a different kind of setup where they will show the movie, but it will also be a live performance and sing along with the movie with the talent provided by the theater company. So that will be a bit more of an interactive experience than it would normally be. And then finally, the other confirmed event that we'll still have this year will be the Festival of Trees for Christmas. So we are working on getting the application live on our website and getting tasks assigned to committee members and volunteers to make that even bigger and better than it has been the last 2 years.
Great. Thank you, Cassidy.
How was the play?
The play was pretty fantastic. I I will say, as far as the quality level of the production, of course, it was not quite on par with shows in Broadway and in London, but it was far better than some other productions in some other larger cities like Baton Rouge and New Orleans that I've been in. I was very surprised and in a great way as far as the quality of the singers and the production. And I think that was kind of the buzz that I had heard from those who attended as well. So it was really a great production. We even had Adrian and I had a follow-up email from a city council member from a neighboring city who participated and was sharing her thoughts. And so it was a great production.
I also want to chime in because I attended, and I wanted it to be on record somewhere that I think that it was such an amazing thing. We got there. It started at 7. My wife and I, we got there at 6, and it was already completely booked and packed. So just to see the community come together and want something like this, and I think this is amazing, and it should definitely be on the plans for the future. I know it's an incredibly expensive endeavor, but making that maybe a focus or a priority in the future, I think the community responded and the residents responded very well. So
yeah, to add to that, Seth, it's Emily. My friend reached out to me that Saturday at 4:30 asking about it and saying they were already setting up chairs in the circles at 4:30 for attendance. So it does seem that it was loved by the community and should encourage us to do more.
Mm-hmm. So that was my little piece.
Thank you, Seth. Any questions for Cassidy and I on anything else going on? Hear none. Angela, I think that's what we have for our staff report.
Thank you, Cassidy and Phil. And moving on then to our committee reports, we'll start with the design committee. Emily, do you have things to share with us?
Yes. So we have our Main Street, North Carolina design training coming up October 28th, and they have decided to do it virtual. I have 4 people that are going to attend this year, and I've been there before a few years ago, so I'm going back again to hear the latest and the greatest. And so I hope I'm not overstepping bounds here, but if anyone else on the board is interested in learning more about design, please feel free to join us, especially since it's virtual. I've heard from other of my committee members that the other virtual trainings that they had this year, you actually get everything in electronic form. You can do it on your own time. You don't have to be live in person, is what I've heard. So it seems to be very flexible and easy to do and fit into your life. So just wanted to throw that out there. If anyone's interested, let me or Phil know.
And Emily, I started trying to get y'all registered yesterday, then I got sidetracked, and so I'll get back on that today, and I'll let you know when I do.
Thank you, Phil. Also, I've been talking with my committee members about a call for new volunteers. With this year and everything that has changed, the design committee still has a lot going on and would appreciate additional folks hopping on board. So if you hear of anyone that talks about the dog park or any cool public art that's going on or any other projects, please point them in my direction. We need more volunteers, especially in the art community, or people that can do graphic design or technology, help us with videos, splicing, and editing. So if you could, please keep your ears open for your friends, people in Belmont that you could point our way if they're looking for a volunteer opportunity. Next is public art. So to update you guys on a few things, the box art wraps, the artists were notified, the artist agreements have been signed, the checks have been sent, so the artists have been taken care of. The installation is about to begin, and we're going to start with the Holy Angels box. And from what I understand, Holy Angels is going to do some good press around it. And Sister Nancy, thank you for offering your promotions committee to help us with the press release. And we're actually talking about and going to be asking the artists that we're going to use their work to interview, whether it be us sending them a list of questions and they answer what they want, or if they're willing to do a virtual Zoom with us so that we can all put this good information into the Belmont Go app and make it a fun little interactive tour for our city. So a lot going on around box art wrap and more to come within the Belmont Go app as time goes on. Angela, Phil, did I miss anything here? Sister Nancy, anything you'd like to say?
I forgot to unmute. Yeah, I just need probably as soon as we know the date for the installation of the Holy Angels art project, then I can move in, and then as we have a series of dates as they're put up.
And Sister Nancy, I have communicated with Chris and Brent at Gaston Printing to give us plenty of heads up when they're going to start, so that we can be prepared for our press release, but also be out there to take pictures of the process. And they have assured me that they will give me heads up. So as soon as I do know, I will let everyone else. I'll give you a heads up.
And the other thing too is we're going to attempt to do a couple of short videos. We have to bring them in virtually, but the artists who helped with that project as well as our artists. So we can use that on social media. So that's in the works as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Sister Nancy. Moving on to murals, something my committee and my public art subcommittee talk about is what are some visible walls within our downtown districts that could use a little love and attention. And so we've come up with 4 different ideas, and one of the owners I'm directly in contact with, and he is on board. We're actually coming up with some ideas and themes that we can present to this person and hopefully move forward with an official mural to beautify down in the River District. This one is. And then we have 3 in the downtown district that we're speaking with the owners of. And so very exciting things going on as far as beautification and public art. And Phil, Angela, anything you guys extra here?
Well, actually, I want to increase that by 1. We actually have 4 areas that we've identified in downtown. We've spoken with 3 property owners, and then 1 that I still need to reach out to. So, remember, we've got
Yeah, so I can tell you guys, the River District one is the Mecca building. It's a very visible wall in the River District. And then Surprise Me, the old school specialties. I think that's an incredible wall for a Welcome to Downtown Belmont mural. So we're in talks with Dick Cromlish about that. The Everyday Market, the old Caravan, the one we actually applied for a grant to replace that with a community art board or some other type of art. Stills in communication with Majid and Lisa. And then the other wall we've identified is the dry cleaners on South Main. It could use a little love, attention, and brightening up as well.
Right. And Cassie and I met with Miss LaVecchia because she wants to do a mural on the side of the antique, her antique store.
Yep. So potentially beautiful art coming to help beautify our buildings downtown. Another art project, the flower fence art that we partnered with Belmont Central Elementary a couple years ago. It's starting to look like it needs a new refresh. So Ron Folk and myself and Angela have been in communication with the art teacher at Belmont Central since they did such a good job last time. We wanted to see if they'd be interested in doing something again. We've actually thrown out an idea out there to her that could reinforce our new city branding and slogan. So the Many Threads, One Community. So we are meeting with her next week to start coming up and brainstorming some ideas. So that is in the works. The dog park, sad news, we were not awarded the State Farm grant. We were not a finalist, which we knew it was a long shot, especially with COVID. This particular grant seems to focus around humans and not pets, but we wanted to give it a shot anyway, just in case. But we were not awarded being a finalist for it. But in other good news, our Jekyll and Hyde fundraiser that we did raised $1,600 for the fundraiser, or for the dog park. And we are in the beginning phases of working again with Sister Nancy's committee on coming up with a fall 5K to benefit the dog park. We're also working hand in hand with Zip, making sure we are in alignment with what he would like for us to help and support the dog park initiative with. And we've been able to answer a lot of questions and clear some blurred lines over the past few weeks and understand more of the requirements so that we can be as best support to Parks and Rec as we can be. So dog park. Angela, is there anything else you wanted to speak about regarding the dog park that I left out?
No, I think you covered everything well. Thank you.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is actually came in the agenda for your review. Liz, thank you, Liz, helped lead a subcommittee to review the Facade Enhancement Grant Program and make updates and suggestions. In the attachment included in the agenda, everything we've changed or suggested is highlighted in yellow. And we would love your comments and going once. Do you guys see anybody on mute trying to talk? I want to make sure everyone gets a chance.
I was just looking at that too. It doesn't look like anyone has any suggested comments. So if there were no revisions requested, can we call for a vote? Does anyone want to make a motion to accept?
I move we approve the it's to the Facade grant application.
Thank you, Sister. Any seconds?
And I second.
Thank you, Liz. All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, no, I heard no opposed. I saw hands in favor. So I guess this goes forward then to City Council, correct? So that they can look at it and approve it?
Correct.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thank you, Emily and Liz and everyone, and Phil, everyone who has worked on revising this to make sure that our Facade Enhancement Grant is up to date and serves the highest need. Thank you. Back to you, Emily.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Next item, kiosks. So City Council approved our packet for paid advertising and our idea and our plan, from what I understand, in the last City Council meeting. And at this point, Seth, you've been very involved with this paid advertising rollout. Is there anything you would like to add?
No, so Angela and I have been working, and Phil, we've been working on when the rollout. We've adjusted some things just to give us time and the time for the business owners to kind of understand everything. The new idea is that it will roll out in November, in the start of November, and the trial period would run November and December. This gives us time to get the information, the training information and materials to the business owners. Therefore, because it is a bit of a process to kind of understand. And there is some turnaround time in getting different materials approved, getting them sent for revision. So we wanted to be able to give them as much time as we could. So that's kind of been the new kind of system to be rolled out. But it's still going to offer an amazing value, especially in and around the highest, retail season that they'll experience. So.
Yeah, it's exciting. And Seth, I wanted to thank you for your involvement in rolling this out to the businesses. So thank you for all you're doing for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Angela can chime in more too. That was probably the quick notes version. Cliff notes.
And so just to clarify and Phil, I'd like for you to step in on that, where the goal is to actually start rolling it out maybe a bit earlier so that it actually has November and December for, so it might roll out in sometime in October, we think.
Okay.
I
guess I'm asking.
If not, even start getting information out to our businesses next week about the process, because we want to give them, like Seth said, plenty of time to get their advertising, or look at it, think about it, get their advertising materials together, instead of trying to throw something together overnight.
No.
Great. Thank you. All right.
And the other item for design I had was just Trains on Main. I know Jamie is leading this and doing a great job, but one of my committee members is becoming more involved in helping out with creating the graphics that are going to be used for the map and the scavenger hunt that we would love to see. And also, Angela found someone to help with the verbiage of it all, to make it family friendly and to where a middle schooler could understand and read it. Also, Liz and Jim, thank you for being willing to volunteer and help us pull together some agreements that we might need for these trains. But I didn't want to steal Jamie's thunder, and I think she's on the call with us today. Jamie, did you have anything to add for Trains on Main? She's on mute.
On mute, Jamie.
It looks like.
Hey, yeah, so we are waiting for the final approval from Rob Presley for the Stowe building, or I'm sorry, is it 100 Main? Is that what they're calling it now? I got a proof of the language from Virginia, which is Angela's niece. Is that right, Angela? Yesterday. And so we are checking forward on that. And hopefully I will have a tentative map next week. But I'd like to, so when I talk to our public works person who I trust explicitly to take care of these trains and install them properly, he wants to do them all at once because the adhesive that he's going to be using is $30 a tube. So he preferred to do them all at once. So that's what the holdup is at this point. We're just trying to get that last property owner's final approval. He's given us a tentative approval. So I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that maybe we can get the trains installed maybe next week.
It'd be great.
Awesome.
Thank you for your help with all of that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, let us know if there's anything more we can be doing, Jamie. It's a great project. I'm so excited for it. So thank you for leading it. Okay, that is all for design. Does anyone have any questions or anything to add?
I just wanted to add, I know we talked about it in the design subcommittee, with regard to the fence, flower fence art, and just not having it be something super permanent, because that property is the subject of it seems like there's going to be redevelopment proposed on that property in the near future. So different down the road, depending on how that all shakes out.
Yes, thank you, Jim. We are asking the art teacher to make something that can last up to 2 years, knowing that's coming and that it's inexpensive. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily. Any other questions for Emily? So if there are no other questions, we'll move on to our EV committee report. Phil, were you planning to cover Mark for that?
Yes, I do not mind. And so with Mark rolling off, we, of course, our EV committee meeting, we gave us an opportunity for each of us to really tell tell Mark about how much we appreciated him stepping up and taking over the EV committee when no one else did. And it took a lot of encouraging from several of us, but he did a fantastic job leading the committee. So he stepped away, and the rest of the committee, just kind of continued. And Al Wall stepped up and said that he would serve as interim in working with kind of keeping things on track. And each of the committee members talked about a task that they would work on over the next month for the next meeting. And so I'm confident that the committee will continue operating until we get some new committee members and get a new committee chair. So, but the primary focus as far as the task that's going to be worked on, we discussed some things that we would like to see on the website and some business recruitment incentives. And so that will be the primary focus. Any questions? Okay.
All right. Thank you, Phil, for those updates. And yes, I second our thank yous to Mark for doing a fantastic job and for everything he's done for the board. So on to the promotions committee. Sister Nancy, you have a report for us.
Okay. So we've talked a little bit about the box art wrap, but we're working together as a committee to get the press release done as soon as we have dates and maybe a few photos of them actually being completed. Eileen Forrester, who's on our committee, she's going to handle the social media piece of the promotion with Cassidy. Bill's doing the photos for us, and then we're going to create videos for the different artists and their various pieces of art, and just use that to feature the arts on social media. So hopefully that will encourage people to go around and look at them. Also, we know the fall concerts are coming up, and darn if it didn't rain for our first one. However, Liz is going to help with a press release to get that out, to announce the concerts and who's doing that. And then we're going to need some volunteers to help, just to help sell shirts and do some various things. So Jennifer is going to help with that and getting us the help we need in order to make a little money, hopefully, on some things, but just help crowd control as well. Festival of Trees. It's in process, as you heard, Cassidy. She is going to be the point person in this project with Jennifer. Jennifer has email addresses, and so they're preparing to send out to everyone who they contacted last year to participate. And I think we're hoping to have 10 extra trees, 10 more trees. Is that right, Cassidy? From last year? This year would be 45 trees.
I believe something in that range. I had reached out to Jamie to confirm that just yet, but we are hoping to add more and combine the two areas that we had used the first and the second year based on construction availability in the park.
Okay, so and
I can give you a little bit of update on that. I actually spoke to David this week, who spoke to our tree vendor. Apparently, there was an issue last year because I was really concerned about the height of the trees last year. And so he spoke to him, and he has 40 on reserve that are at least 7 feet tall, if not 8. So we have a tentative 40 reserved.
And so Eileen and Melody on our committee will be taking care of going when they're putting their decorations on their trees, the various organizations, and taking video and photos here again to use through social media, and encourage people to come and include Belmont on their Christmas tree lights. And since McAdenville is a little smaller this year, we may get some more folks coming to Belmont. And working with the design committee, Eileen Forrester is going to help with the 5K fundraiser for the dog park. So that's in process. And once we have all the information ready, we will be more than willing to help promote the kiosk and how businesses can use that. And then Fresco Dining, I think Phil wanted to talk about that to see what we can do to people seem to really like that, and so to try to do it again as things cool down. And we're working on possibly doing it on a Thursday night or Friday night, so we're still in conversation with kind of get that set up.
And Sister Nancy, can I jump in? Are you ready for me to talk a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay, so thank you. We did have a lot of support from the community. Our restaurants did extremely well. Our retail shops stayed open a little later. They extended their hours on the Friday and Saturday nights to try to capture some foot traffic, and said that if we did this again, they would, stay open later. Councilman Jim Heffron actually mentioned in the council meeting last Tuesday night that he had even had some constituents reach out to encourage us to do this again. In the promotions committee, we talked about Thursday nights or Friday nights, and then it was mentioned with high school football not taking place that Friday nights would be a great opportunity. And of course, a couple of weeks ago when we were in the mountains, downtown West Jefferson, on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, they allowed restaurants to block off a couple of parking spaces in front of their business and put some picnic tables and chairs. And so they kind of had an extended alfresco or outdoor seating. They didn't call it alfresco. And so we were able to sit outside, have pizza and beer, which was pretty cool. And so when I was talking to Adrian earlier this week, when we were kind of talking about the overall concept, I told him that in our promotions committee, we talked about wanting to all of our businesses to benefit, not just our restaurants or businesses on Main Street. So we talked about, and I shared the West Jefferson concept. And, internally, we've been talking about the staff time that it took. We had to give up our entire weekend. So we were trying to figure out a way to still offer some type of alfresco dining without, having our Public Works and Cassidy and I and us, the cost and being there all weekend. So we've kind of thrown out an idea to potentially kind of, we'll reach out to the restaurants or the shops, see who's interested in participating, working with them on Friday morning to start blocking off some spaces, parking spaces in front of their restaurant. Then they could provide their own tables and chairs and decorate for alfresco dining. That those couple of parking spots will be blocked off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then first thing Monday morning, they would be taken away. And then we could try that for the next month or so while the weather is nice. So that's kind of where we're at with a proposal for alfresco dining, so that we can still offer that opportunity to our restaurants to provide outdoor seating, but keep the cost and staff time at a minimum. So I know that's a lot to process, but I'd like to get some feedback from some of you, maybe even Jim, on that proposal.
I mean, it sounds good. How much increased capacity would there actually be in that situation?
Well, each restaurant, if they were to get a couple of parking spots, or they might could utilize side street or sidewalk. So, they might could increase, their seating capacity, I would say by, 6-8 tables. But what I like about that for multiple reasons is, other restaurants could participate, like the Lodge. We could block some, section off out in front of them or by them. So we would kind of provide additional opportunities for other businesses to participate while cutting down staff time, so that Cassidy and I and our entire Public Works crew do not have to give up our entire Friday and Saturday for the next couple of months when there's college football and nice weather.
So you can watch Alabama football games.
So, but it was more about trying to provide an opportunity for additional restaurants to participate that are not on Main Street.
I like the idea. I like that it's a little bit more sustainable, not having to use staff hours and time and stuff like that. I would be very interested to know, like, which businesses are very gung-ho about, like, yes, we are absolutely going to do this. Because I'd hate for it to be something, that's an opportunity for them. And especially now that they have to take on an onus of cost of providing decorations and tables and things like that, and just not take advantage of the opportunity. And it doesn't look as accomplished or complete or as wonderful as it did before. So do you know if there's, and it might be too early and it might be something we ask, do you know if there's already like a rally of support from the businesses that yes, we would do this?
Well, I do know that our businesses that did participate have always said that they would love to do it again. The Lodge has said that they would love to participate. Because toward the end, they were we were trying to figure out how we could actually block some section, a street or section off for them. Mm-hmm. So next step would be to reach out and communicate with all of the restaurants to talk about this proposal to see who was actually interested in participating. I agree with you. The feeling, the same wow feeling may not be there as far as blocking off Main Street and have all the lights that we did, creating that, that ambiance. But that was a lot of work. Yeah. For basically 3 restaurants. So, if we wanted to do that on, occasionally once or twice, maybe like the first Friday or something, but to really as a big retail promotion, component to that. But again, I would want to make sure that all restaurants could benefit or all retail shops could benefit.
Yeah.
Instead of just the ones right there on Main Street. So.
Yeah, no, I'm all about that.
So Phil, I think in the fall you might draw larger crowds just because of the weather for one, and number two, people seem to be not as scared as COVID as they were during the summer months. So if we have more people coming downtown, I don't know where my thoughts are going with this, but I think it would end up being a larger crowd than in the summer.
Yeah, well, especially with no Friday night football, I think people would be, and weather being nice, I think people are going to be inclined to get out and want to walk around and eat. So,
and it's something we've done before, so the message is kind of already out that I really loved that during the summer. I'm definitely going to make it a point to go again.
Yeah,
we'll see pictures and things like that.
Yeah. But as far as blocking off entire Main Street and doing the setup the way we did, it was a lot of work and it was costly. And I just don't see us being able to do that continuously the way that we did it before. That was, we went above and beyond because of the situation we were in with COVID, trying to really help our businesses. But also making it safe for our community to come out and eat, to support our businesses. It is slightly different now, but, we still need to be safe. But I just, for me, I think it's almost impossible to do it the way we did every Friday and Saturday night for, 2 additional months. Adrian, I see you're not on mute. Do you have something that you'd like to provide?
Yeah, so I would just have a couple comments on it. So I thought the alfresco that we did this summer was fantastic, and I think with fall weather we have more participation, particularly like you said without Friday night football. I think we need to figure out what the goal of the alfresco in the fall would be, because when we did it in the summer, it was to make up the reduced capacity, and to Emily's point, people were still a little bit hesitant to go out in public and eat, so this was a good alternative. My experience over the last couple weekends downtown is, by and large, people have gotten over their fear of COVID, and it certainly looks like it's a typical summer evening on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The restaurants are packed, so I'm not sure that the economic need to really rally and save the restaurants is there as strong as it was earlier in the year. But it may be that the outdoor dining is more of something to do, and it's a safe social interaction. We're still working from home, and we're not as cooped up as we used to be, but we still want to get out and do something fun and see our friends and neighbors. So, it may be more of just sort of an event, more so than a rally to save the restaurants, because I think we've accomplished that goal working with our restaurants. I absolutely want us to do it, but I want us to sort of get some more information from the restaurant owners, the retail owners, to determine what their needs are. Would they be willing to keep the street open, but just utilize on-street parking spaces, because it is very expensive to do this. And the expense comes with the setup and the breakdown with creative solutions plus paying overtime to our staff. So if we could close the on-street parking spaces on Friday afternoon and leave them closed all weekend, it's less work and expense on the city's part. And then we share some of the costs with the businesses. But if we want to go and do the full alfresco like we did this summer, I mean, I think it'd be wonderful. It just realize that comes with a lot of expense to the city, and I hate to ask Phil and Cassidy and our public works staff and our police officers to give up their weekends every weekend again. So I'm cognizant of the sort of the soft cost on our staff, but also the actual cost to the city of doing this. So I'm open to either way or a different way. And I definitely think we need to do it, but my main point in this long way of coming back from my initial point was, let's figure out what the goal of a fall al fresco season would be, and then maybe we design it to meet that goal. And maybe the goal is the same, and maybe it's not.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Adrian. I see this more as an event now. And I worry with, if we just block off parking spaces on Main and don't close the streets, is that a public safety hazard? Could we do maybe every other Friday and, still have something, or one Friday a month, but just not to the extent it was before, but actually block down the street and make it like it was?
Well, Amy, that's where I was talking about, being able to provide that same opportunity for all restaurants, so do we block off, and we also have to work with the police and making sure that we're not blocking off a certain flow of traffic, but, blocking off Main Street and then also trying to block off other streets, for other restaurants, Dolphers, Jekyll and Hyde, the Lodge. So, and trying to, whatever we do, I'd like for us to be fair and considerate of all restaurants.
Could you just set up tables in Stowe Park and just let Stowe Park be the al fresco for takeout everywhere? I'm sorry, I'm just throwing out ideas.
I think this is a good opportunity for our committee to really flesh out these issues and meet with Public Works and the police department, because that was one of my concerns I went to have with Phil, is the safety and security of parking space versus having the hard concrete staircase street. I know a lot of cities around the country are doing this, utilizing on-street parking for outdoor dining, and I'm not aware of any issues that have happened, which is not to say they haven't happened and I just haven't heard of it. But I think there's a hard employment of, in Charlotte or New York or wherever, we would have heard about it. But I think this is a good opportunity for a committee to really flesh out what we want to do and then work with staff. But I think, given that it's mid-September now, if this board is interested in doing that, then maybe you put it with the motions committee or ad hoc committee and move forward. Because the council is interested in doing this, the public obviously is interested in doing it. We just need to get the volunteers and city staff to come together.
Okay.
I liked Emily's idea of maybe, rather than having it every weekend for 3 days each weekend, because the al fresco dining was so special and so unique at the time, would it be better to do what Emily suggested and have it maybe every other Friday for like 3 times? Yeah. And so and here again, I absolutely don't know what the cost is even to do it just one day every other week, but or do it 1 week on Friday, 1 week on Saturday. And I think we could maybe add music or something to it and just make it an event as opposed to just something we're doing all the time.
You could even do like a movie in the park on the same night, so families can go out there after dinner and enjoy like a movie. Like, I don't know, there's a ton of options.
So at this point, I do think it would be wise for us to move this conversation to either a committee, either promotions committee, Sister Nancy, if you feel that's appropriate, or we can make some ad hoc committee.
I think because time is probably of essence, maybe I can do a called meeting of the promotions group. And in the meantime, Phil, maybe you can discuss it with the restaurants, the local restaurants, to get their feedback on what they would like, and we can meet maybe in another week or so.
Yeah, I will go ahead and send out an email to our restaurants and retail shops downtown, and kind of put some options out there to get some feedback from them on participation. Yeah, I will do that. Yeah, I'm with you. I think we don't have time to wait till next month promotions committee meeting. I think we have to act and act fast if we're going to do this.
Okay, I'll call a meeting for next week.
Okay.
For the promotions committee.
Sister Nancy, will you also include the board members in case there's anyone here who would like to join in on that meeting?
Sure. I'll just send it to everybody when we're going to have discussion on it, and anyone who's interested, definitely. More ideas, the better. Sometimes I think. Although we had a lot of ideas today.
Yeah, good ideas and lots to discuss. So thank you, Phil. Thank you, Adrian, for thinking of that, bringing that up to us.
Okay. Any other questions for the promotions committee? Then that concludes my report for today.
Thank you, Sister Nancy. Lots going on with all of our committees. And next up is our organization committee, Seth.
Okay, y'all ready for this? I've got a ton of stuff. Okay. So first thing, I wanted to briefly mention, as many of you know, the organization committee has taken on doing some grant research, and I'm currently researching a digital humanities grant that could potentially help our kiosks. For those who don't know, digital humanities is telling history using digital means. So I know there's a couple different things that we're doing with that, with the trains on Main and the kiosks and the Belmont Go app and things like that. So there's actually a grant, the National Board of Digital Humanities. So I'm looking at that, and I'll give you more information coming up. We've been working on kiosk training materials to launch, kind of helping in conjunction with other committees to launch that. And then the biggest thing that's going to take the most time today. So yesterday, our committee met in downtown Belmont to, as many of you know, we've been working on going through a process and moving towards a process of rezoning the Main Street districts and what that looks like in officiality. We've been in contact with the state's the Main Street Association and gotten some direction. So we walked downtown yesterday to make sure that anything that was added would make sense going forward. It would make sense to what it looks like to downtown, to encompass new developments and retail developments and things like that. Phil, did you want to show it, or do you want me to show it, what we kind of discussed? Hold on, let me see if I can get my life together.
While you're doing that, when we say rezoning, Seth, I mean, obviously you're referring to what's included within the Main Street district, the Main Street program, not rezoning as in.
Oh, yeah. So that's like a really harsh. Yeah, maybe that's like a really harsh word, but like adding in,
right,
being included. I don't think there's a better word.
We were reevaluating the boundaries to see if it makes sense to expand any boundary areas to include any other commercial developments or commercial businesses to enhance the Main Street district. So we were evaluating the potential expansion.
Yes, not rezoning. That's probably, Shelley would kill me. Okay. Oh. Oof. Can y'all see what I see?
It's starting to share.
I don't know what it's showing.
We see a gray blank screen.
Oh. Hold on. Let's go back here. Y'all don't see the map. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Seth, is it something you can email?
Maybe. Do you have the? Well, I know Phil. Hold on.
Or maybe
It's showing up on my screen now, and then this is share content shareware browser. Okay. Application. So, let's find it. Okay. Okay. Do you see what I see now?
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So this is currently where the districts are. This is everything that is current. So there was 4 different areas we looked at. We confirmed 3, and that's what we'll talk about today. So the A, B, and C. So if you'll look down, so everything in red is what is current, and everything that is in blue is proposed. So this would expand out all the way up to Poplar Street. This would include the lodge, the planned development, a dentist's office, and the house beside it, the residential area beside it. It would include the church, another dentist's office, and I think there's another planned development at another office.
That's not happening.
That is no longer happening. Thank you. So that was kind of what was proposed, and then for the first section. Then the second section, as we've talked about in this committee or in this on this board before, is completely including the middle school space. Any questions about that? That's really all that it would go up to include. And then boundary C, or section C, excuse me, would go all the way and extend to Woodrow and connect back. So that would add in the Caremont Health, I believe, is like a finance center or like a billing center, the post office, the police department, a couple of potential developments, and 1 planned development, including the bank and another a couple other commercial properties. That also will include and gives us a little bit more. It was mentioned yesterday too that this right here would be where the trolley will go. So that puts us a little bit more in the trolley zone. Is there any questions? Those are the ones that we've officiated as a committee, have voted to move forward. Is there any questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was a little slow on picking up what I was looking at. Do you mind going? I got the one in the middle with Belmont Middle School, but with the first one and the third one, I was a little lagging behind with the.
Okay. It's a lot of information, so I was trying to keep it fairly condensed.
And we are looking, honestly, I can't see some. Put my glasses on, you can tell I can't see.
Let me see if can y'all see this? Is this better?
So this is South Main, right, Seth?
Yes.
And Myrtle.
So what's South
So
Main?
it's extending the South Main section.
Right, up to Poplar Street, right at where Alexander Memorial Baptist Church is.
I see.
And it went up, including the dentist office, so the dentist office, and then there's a house right next to it, which ends at Poplar Street. So just for continuity purposes, we decided to make it go up to that way.
Copy. I understand now. Thank you. And the last one you were looking at?
This is, so this is off near where Park Street is. So it'd be Park and Woodrow. Over on the back side where the police department, the post office. Do what?
This is extending the Chronicle District north,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So what is the big, orient me, I can't see the road name. So
Okay. So this, can you see my mouse? So this right here, or my cursor rather, this is Park Street. So, and then this is East Woodrow. So right in through here, right here's the police department, right here's the post office, and then you have Claremont Health. This is where the South State Bank is, and this is where the flower shop is.
Okay.
So Angela, if you look at the yellow square, that property's at the corner of Chronicle and Woodrow, and Claremont Health a few years ago rezoned that corner for a future office, and so that I like the extension of these boundaries in this area, because it takes in the police department and future opportunities for redevelopment. Where the orange circles are across from the yellow square, there used to be homes there that have, I think there's only one house left over there, but it's right across from the manufacturing plant on the north side of Woodrow. So there's a real opportunity to redevelop that area. Still the Chronicle or the Claremont Health corner, and it does take in other businesses like the bank at the corner of Park in Woodrow, and Jean's Flower Shop, and it squares off the boundary real nice.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you for that clarification.
Mm-hmm.
And another reason I know it's just like a finance center, but another reason we were excited about having Claremont now included in a district, Claremont office included in district, is because we do receive sponsorships from them. So it makes sense. It would now make sense that it wouldn't be something like an outside. It wouldn't be like an outside partnership. It now makes a little bit more sense.
A big conversation that the EV has had as well is the post office, not knowing what may potentially happen to that. So we also talked about also having the post office in the district would also be a positive to be able to really, work on that, down the road if something happens with trying to pull out or redevelop that property.
Yeah, that all makes a lot of good sense. Is this to the point we're voting on this today? Is that the suggestion?
Yes. So the committee has we have voted on the first three. There is one more that we've tabled, and we'll continue to have that discussion. But these first three are what we're asking for a vote, because this will have to. My understanding is this will also eventually have to go to City Council.
Okay.
So I have a question. With us extending the borders and including new buildings and homes, does it affect those business owners and homeowners at all?
I'll let Phil. We did discuss that, but Phil probably answer that better than I.
Yeah, Emily, what we talked about as a committee is to send a courtesy letter to those property owners to talk about the Main Street and the value that commercial properties have, as far as opening the door for potential facade grants, being able to market and promote their business on our kiosks, or having that network of promotions. So we talked about as a courtesy email, and then allowing to really try to garner some support and just offer that public input early on. I know that if it went to, then it would go to City Council. We just want to make good efforts in reaching out to the property owners.
And as far as residential, because we don't have an MSD, it's little to no consequence, but having that courtesy conversation with them.
Does this have to be approved or anything with the Main Street?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Program?
Yeah, we actually had, as Seth mentioned, we had a call, a Zoom WebEx or a WebEx meeting with North Carolina Main Street to get some guidance on them. And so the process would be for us, like we've done, we've evaluated the district, we're presenting it to the board, get public feedback, submit it to City Council to approve, and then we would send updated boundary district map to the state for their record.
Okay, so they don't need to see it prior to it going to the council?
No.
Okay,
we can send it to them courtesy, but it was more us going through our process on the front end. This map is what, if approved, is what the extended boundaries of the district would look like, as far as including the green area for South Main Street and the middle school. The yellow box would be including the Chronicle District. And then we looked at the east end of the River District and decided to hold off on that.
Okay, do we have any other questions of Phil or Seth? Would anyone like to, if no other questions, would anyone like to?
So this would go to City Council before it's, my only concern is, I'd sort of like to know what the people who actually have businesses or might live in those areas think about this. I guess it sounds like there's not, it's not like rezoning or anything, but certainly if somebody in that area doesn't want to be, I don't know if I'd force them to be.
Jim, what we talked about was presenting it to the Main Street Board, getting approval to move forward. Then we would draft a letter and communicate with the property owners in the areas that we would look at expanding to get some public input from them first, before coming to City Council.
Would there be any benefit in where we're encompassing and adding in areas to discuss with the people who are living and working and businesses in those areas to discuss what the potential benefits would be of being a part of the Main Street district?
Well, my thought that was what would be included in the letter. Well, we could set up a WebEx meeting, a call if anyone wanted to join a call to ask questions.
So, Jim, are you suggesting that maybe we come back to this board to give formal approval after, if everybody's okay and approves the idea of this pending public input? Would you like to see this come back to the board for a further discussion of what that input was before we approve it and send it to City Council?
At some point that needs to be done, and I'll ask Adrian and Mark to weigh in whether they. I mean, I have no problem approving this in theory, just as long as there's some public or there's some ability for there to be back and forth and input and discussions before the final approval is made. But when that might be in the process, I'll see what Mark or Adrian have to say about that. I'd be interested to hear.
I mean, for me, I'm fine with approving this today, kind of subject to maybe if the rest of the board's okay with this map, reaching out to the property owners who'd potentially be affected by this. And I think that the idea of having a WebEx or something with them is a good idea, just to make sure that they understand, what it is we're trying to do here and give them an opportunity to provide some input prior to City Council making it official. And then maybe even making sure that they're aware of when City Council will be voting on this too, so that if there's some feedback they'd like to provide directly to the council, they have an opportunity to do that. I mean, I don't really see any problems per se. Like, it doesn't sound like there's any sort of cost or anything imposed on the, I guess, properties here. But I could see how it, there's a potential for maybe a misunderstanding or something. It might be good to kind of head that off before, before we make this official.
I agree, Mark. I think that's wise. I like the WebEx idea as well. Is that something the organization committee can head?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was part of our initial plan to have that public input. So we can just incorporate having the WebEx in addition to that. Oh, cool.
Yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I can't think of any negative implications, but there seems to be a lot of things these days that are being done to benefit people without their input. So, I think as long as we have a mechanism for people to ask questions and provide input before it becomes official, I agree with all of that and have no issue with approving it today. From our perspective, from the Main Street's perspective, in terms of the various extensions.
Hey, does anyone else have questions or comments?
And Angela, this is Adrian. I agree with both of my supervisors. I think it's fine to make the recommendation from this board to expand the footprint of the district. But I do think it's very important to have some input and dialogue with the property owners to let them know what this is and what it's not. That it's not regulatory, it's not a zoning change, it's not additional hurdles being put on you. There's no cost. You don't participate in it. You're not a member of the Main Street program, by calls. It's just part of what we do, and to explain the benefits of it. Because I don't want somebody to misunderstand or misinterpret a word or something and get excited for the wrong reasons. I want us to be able to explain why this benefits them, opens them up to potential grants, it opens them up to assistance, and get them excited for the right reason. So I think that's a good use of time between now and when it would go to City Council.
Yeah, well said. What it is and what it's not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well done. Okay, would anyone like to make that motion? To, as you said, Adrian, to recommend the expansion of the district subject to the public input.
This is Liz. I will make the motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, so the motion is moved. And we can thank you, Seth. I appreciate that. You did have a lot to cover today. All of our committees did. You guys are doing fantastic work. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. And it looks like we have Mark Fisher with us. Mark, hello.
Yay, Mark.
Listen, take yourself off of mute. You can see that we are all celebrating you today, and just can't thank you enough for everything. But we want to give you a second to say something, and then I'm sure there will be people that want to speak out as well to say things to you.
Well, I just enjoyed working with you guys these past 3 years, and it's been a great experience, and I know you're going to continue to do wonderful things for Belmont, and I'm looking forward to being a recipient of those wonderful things. I've even got on one of my Belmont shirts this morning. So, I'll continue to support the Main Street program, and look forward to seeing you guys around.
Thank you, Mark.
My pleasure.
3 cheers for Mark. Thank you so much. You've meant so much to all of us, and I know I can speak for everyone to say it's just been wonderful to get to know you and to work with you. And we're going to still be texting, Mark. I don't know if you know that, but you're not off my text list.
Yeah, we told Mark this is not a goodbye. We're not releasing him from taking money and slinging beer and working and volunteering at events. So
I look forward to that. I really do. I look forward to getting back to normal and then having the opportunity to volunteer for those kind of things.
I even wore my Appalachian State shirt for you as much as it pains me.
I like that. For that.
Yeah.
We hope they'll have a good season. We hope they'll have a season this year like they did last year. Y'all take care and good luck, and stay in touch.
thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye-bye.
So, Angela, I got kicked off, and so I missed the last part of the discussion. So I missed everything until Mark. We just started talking to Mark. I can catch up later. Is there anything significant that I missed?
We're just going to do the WebEx, the motion for the districting. You mean
Right.
That has moved forward, but we do need to do a WebEx in addition to your other communication to discuss not only what the benefits are, but also what this isn't. Make sure that it's very clear what this isn't and what.
Okay.
And Adrian rattled off some good what it's not.
Yeah.
You might want to bend his ear for those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We have movers moving furniture around me, and it's kind of like they were taking stuff, and I'm grabbing my computer, and then and so I got disconnected from the power. But okay, yeah, no.
Okay.
I will follow up and get all that.
Okay. Can people still hear me? It looks like I've.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
Yes, I can hear you.
Great. We will move on then to the chair report. So one thing that we have to discuss here is that we did conclude our voting on the link for the Main Street Champion, so Phil can submit that, and that the resulting winner was Ron Volk. So I guess, Phil, we will need to be communicating that to him, and congratulations, Ron. Lots of deserving people on the list, obviously, but our by far winning vote getter was Ron Volk. So yay! Thank you, everyone, for submitting your your vote and for everyone on the list for all the hard work. And for all of you for all the hard work. Each and every one of you could be on this list as well. So any other questions of me or any other new business or other business? And everyone's frozen on my screen, so I don't know why. But if you can still hear me, if there is no new business, then does anyone like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
This is Shelley. So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. And Cassidy, do you need time to change anything over, or can we move right on?
Give me about 60 seconds, if you don't mind.
Okay. Cassidy works fast.
Angela, this is Adrian. I've got to jump off the sales committee meeting.
Okay, thank you, Adrian, for all this input. Helpful.
This is Shelley. I need to jump off the call as well for a meeting.
Okay, Shelley, thank you.
You still have a quorum? Want to make sure you still have a quorum.
Again, my screen is frozen, so I'm not really clear on this with it. So that's a quorum, right? Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Shelley.
Bye.
So actually, my sister Nancy, can you take over for just a second while I go in? It looks like my computer is about to die.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. I'll be right back.
Cassidy, tell us when it's okay to move on.
You're all set.
Okay. So our secretary had to, oh, Shelley's still here. Shelley, do you want to do the secretary's report?
Do we need to call the meeting to order officially?
Oh,
no.
Okay. I call the DBDA meeting to order. Our first order of business would be the secretary's report.
Okay, I'll do this before I jump off. In your packet are minutes that are requesting your review and approval of.
I see the same issue with Ron and both being listed as present.
The attendance. Okay.
I'd make the motion to approve with the proper amendment as to who is present and who is not.
Do I have a second?
Second, Liz.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I believe the minutes are approved. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the staff report. Bill?
Okay, I can try to make this quick. Our PayPal account, we're still trying to get funding from our PayPal, connecting our bank to the PayPal account. Angela and I spoke, we found a number that we actually could call PayPal. I called and I'd be on hold, and then I'd have to answer a question or put in a number. And then they would finally get kicked out. So, with COVID, they still talks about COVID and a lack of staff. So we will continue to try to connect our bank to our PayPal account in order. But I think one of the biggest reasons is SunTrust is now, we have our account at SunTrust. And SunTrust is not really being recognized. I don't know if it's because of the merger and with BB&T, but we will still make this a priority to try to connect our PayPal account with our bank account. And we can't just request a check because you have to have it connected to a bank. So we're still working on that. Christmas Village, we talked a little bit about, we're still trying to work on Christmas Village as far as what, if anything, we can actually do, looking into the ice skating and also hopefully we will have a little more that we can provide at our next meeting as far as what actual event we can do, if any. We talked about the kiosk funding as well, as far as the city council approval. And once those monies come in, we will track those separately in our account. One grant that we did apply for, that we are hopefully within the next week or two, will be the Gaston County Foundation, Community Foundation grant. We actually wrote a grant to do more community theater, free trainings in the community. And so hopefully we'll get that grant that will help jumpstart. Within the grant, we talked about doing Shakespeare in the park, another Broadway show in the park, and then 2 smaller productions. And so with the community support that we saw from Barnum, if we can get this grant, we feel like that will be really big for us to do more community theater. And so we're, fingers crossed that we'll get that grant. If we do get that grant next year, we did put in that the city and the DBDA would put some matching funds toward that. And so if we get the grant, I will bring that request back up for the DBDA for next year's budget.
Yeah, do you know if the Gaston Arts Council, do they do any kind of funding or grants?
Yes, they also provide grants through their monies that they receive from the North Carolina State Arts Council. And Shane Elks, who is the director of Black Star Theater, we've talked about setting up a meeting with Kim George and kind of putting her in as a partner and also writing a grant there. So yes, we've had those conversations.
And Phil, I wanted to make a note about the kiosk. So yes, the DBDA is going to hold in their funding what we get from paid advertising, but the kiosks are still very much a city project that we are just assisting them with. I don't want people to get confused and think we own them.
Right.
We don't. It's still city. We are just continuing to do what the city asks of us to support it.
Correct. Yeah, and anything, and in our presentation to the city, we outlined very specifically what those funds would go towards, and any deviation from that, we would go back to city council for approval. But we outlined like 4 or 5 very specific items that any and all money generated from the kiosk, what they would go towards, and that's what we will stick to.
Okay. Phil, can you do the treasurer's report?
Oh, yes. I would be glad to do the treasurer's report. And actually, I had, so if you pull up the financial, so currently our checkbook balance is $19,277. Outstanding deposits, that is still the $7,400. That's what we have in our PayPal account. You can see where we do our allocation trackings for our Boxwood Dog Park, Black Zone, et cetera, et cetera. We have, so total available revenue in our budget is $13,000. And that includes DBDA donations and some merchandise from selling of the Belmont Strong t-shirts. On the second page of the report, you can see where we track all expenditures and income from in our budget. Are there any questions about the DBDA budget? None?
Do we need to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Have we done that?
That's all. I think we usually just hear it.
We haven't done it in the past. All right. Moving on to the committee reports. Emily, do you have anything else for this committee?
I do not. Thank you.
We've had the treasurers, and there's nothing else for the promotions committee. So we'll move on to, we need to do a nomination for the treasurer.
Yes, can folks hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Angela.
Okay, I'm sorry. Everybody's still frozen on my end. I don't know why, but I can hear you, and I would think at this point we do need to do a treasurer nomination. Does anyone, if anyone doesn't have, I would like to nominate Liz if she would be willing.
I will happily serve.
Thank you, Liz. Do we have any other nominations?
I'll second your nomination of Liz.
Oh, thank you.
Just move this along.
So I guess at this point, is that just, are there any other nominations to consider? Okay, all in favor of nominating Liz for treasurer for the DBDA?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so thank you, Liz. Appreciate that very much.
Happy to help. Happy to do this. So big shoes to follow as far as Mark is concerned. But,
Yes, well, thank you. And any other new or old business to discuss?
Well, really quick, because I know it's been running a while, and I probably should have mentioned this in the Main Street board, but with Mark rolling off, are we soliciting or encouraging various new board nominees to fill open positions?
Oh, yes. Thank you for mentioning that. I know that Jamie has, and Jamie and Cassidy, I noticed had posted on the Facebook page that there are any number of boards that need to be filled, and the Main Street board was included in that. And I think that all of the committees have been mentioning that, so that obviously if there are committee members who are interested in moving up to the board, that seems to be the most successful way for people to kind of like hit the ground running because they already understand who we are and what we do. So we're hoping that is happening. And Jamie, do you know if we've been successful with having any number of applications yet? I think the deadline was tomorrow, correct?
Yes, I'll jump in. The deadline is tomorrow, the 18th. As Angela said, at each of our committee meetings, we encouraged our committee members to apply. As of, I think yesterday, we did have maybe 3 applications. I do know of 1 or 2 more that will be coming in. So we do have, I think, at least 3 really good committee members who have expressed interest in submitting an application for our 2 spots that are coming open.
And to further give you some new business, the second spot that is coming open is that of David Welter. He has submitted this week his resignation from the board. His term is not up, but he is one of the people who unfortunately was his schedule, his work, and his ability to participate was severely impacted by COVID. His work basically became much more demanding of him, and even he's got manager meetings and things that directly conflict with both the committees that he was on as well as this board meeting here. So that's why you haven't seen him as much this year, is that he just direct conflict due to COVID. And we had several conversations, and he's looked at other ways to try to participate, and is still supportive of the board and would hope to participate on a volunteer basis when he can. But as a board member, he wishes to resign so that position can be open to someone who is able to be more fully participatory at this time. So we thank him very, very, very much for everything he did. He stepped in with the promotions committee and last year and helped to do some things there. And so we definitely appreciate his work and all that he's done. And wish him well.
Time is remaining on his term?
Is it? I don't know, Phil. Is it 1 year or 2?
And I'm not for sure if he came in on a full term or if he was completing someone else's term. We do track that, Jim. We do track terms. And so I don't know if Cassidy could pull that up real quick, but we can provide that.
Figure it out before, because what we were doing with the last round of council was if it was like a small period of time to fill a term, we were just appointing people to fill the remainder of that term plus a full
plus
term.
a new term. Yeah. Okay, that's really good. Okay.
I can update on that quickly. His term was going to run through September of 22.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you,
Cassidy.
We do have 2 positions that are open and for the 3 people who have submitted. But obviously, if there are folks that do spread the word, if there are folks you feel would be a great fit for our board, encourage anyone to apply. So, any other new or old business to discuss? Okay. With there being no new or old business to discuss, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Y'all want to stay in here and talk, huh?
Thank you, Liz. Was that a second? Wasn't sure.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Well, wait, we actually have to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Now, thanks everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.